train, losers complain.
Well, good day everybody, Rough Rider Guy here. Another season's ended. Grey Cup's over. The Blue Bummers, they're Grey Cup champions again. Should have never been. Hamilton had them exactly where they wanted them. But ended up losing just like the Riders. Both teams should have had them. Yeah, a few things in that game really had me stunned. Why they gave up that single point. I'm sure that, I don't think the coach would have said that. I think it was a player thinking it's NFL rules and putting a knee down and they don't get a point. You know, there was nobody within 25 yards of him. He was only 2 yards deep in the end zone and he gives up a single point. Now they're only 3 points out instead of 2. Field goal wins it. Just don't make any sense to me. And it turned out they would have won. You know, he'd have got it at least out to the 20. You know, no one was even going to get to him till the lights down. Didn't make any sense. Oh, I don't know why they did that. And then in overtime, you know, I can't believe, well, I can't believe it actually. You know, flag happy referee, I think it was Prudhoe too, he threw a flag for holding in overtime. You know, sure, it was holding, but there's holding on every play. You know, like, you know, hold your flag unless the guy gets tackled and pushes him out. And he didn't score. He only made about 7 yards on the play. Holding. Now what? Now you're 1st and 20 instead of 2nd and 2. And of course, what happens? That's it. Dust. They don't make her. You know, get picked off. You know, let them play in overtime. You know, they want the CFL to be better. That was the most exciting part of the game. What do? Throw a flag for a little misdemeanor. It was a penalty, but there's holding every play. You could just about call holding. They've got to adjust that rule too. They want to change other rules. 4 downs, no thank you. You know, revenue sharing, no thank you. You know, got teams like Toronto, they got a big corporation owning them, and you want to share revenue with them? Man, for them to pump money into their team is like just going out for coffee. You know, and they want a revenue share with the Saskatchewan Rough Riders, a publicly owned team. No, thank you. We're not like we need a hole in the head. Now it's on to next season. A lot of free agents for the Riders. You know, like, we got a lot of guys they gotta sign. But one I really like him to sign is Tetz, Canadian linebacker. He played really well. You know, a lot of fog out here today. Pretty bloody foggy. But yeah, we've got a lot of free agents. Fajardo's still signed this year, but they need to find a backup that they can put some pressure on Fajardo. Can use if he's not doing very well. I saw he'd be on a real short leash. You know, sure, we need a little better offensive line, but our offensive line's not that bad. They're young, and but all I'd want there is a good find yourself a blindside tackle, offensive tackle. There must be a lot of Americans that can play that position. That's a bloody important position, and that would really help the situation. But I don't know, it's been an interesting off season. There's a lot of free agents out there. And I don't know. You know, like Fajardo, he swallows up a lot of our budget. I think he's close to $500,000. You know, is he worth that much? To me, I wouldn't pay my quarterbacks that much money. I would sink more money into the offensive line and the defensive line. You know, that's where football games are won. Offensive line and defensive line. You know, you can control the line of scrimmage, you control the game. Simple as that. It's not magic. They already spent a lot of money. Every team has a lot of players on defense. That box, they have 3 or 4 guys, every team that can rotate in and out on defense, and they only rely on one offensive backup. But that's the nature of the beast. Running back's going to be interesting next year. I didn't mind that Morrow. I think he's going to give Powell a run for starting back. He had one really good run in the Western Final, and then they didn't use him again. That one baffled me too. Moss better have next season is his second chance. We got to move the ball. We got to get more first downs somehow, some way. You know. But I didn't mind that Morrow. And I don't know about receivers. You know, we should be all right. It depends who they can sign. I wouldn't doubt if Evans isn't back next year again. Duke, if they can re-sign him, I think he's only signed for about one this year. Be good to have him back. And shake and bake, and we should get Swerve. He got injured, but get him back. That was another thing with this season. A lot of injuries. A lot of injuries this year. They did pretty damn good for all the injuries, especially starting out. And they had all those guys with Achilles right off the bat. You know, we had to fill our linebackers, which they really did. You know, our linebackers weren't weak. We get all those guys back. We lost. There was a lot of injuries right off the bat, right in training camp. Talking about training camp, I hope they have the training camp in Saskatoon this year. I really like getting out there and watching what the team's going to be look like. See some of my friends that I sit with during the practice. It's always a good time. But who knows? Now you got Omicron or Con or whatever, another variant. You know, what's going to happen there? What's the next variant coming along? Seems to be never ending. Going for another booster shot. How many booster shots are you gonna need? It's crazy. Crazy times. Sure hope they can play next year. They got the Grey Cup at home. And it'll be nice to win it at home. It'd be a packed place if they're in the Grey Cup, I'll tell you that. Don't think I'll miss that. I'd be there. Hell or high water, somehow I'd get there. How many more years I got left to go? Well, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the CFL here in the off season. What rules they come up with. And how this COVID crop's going to work out. yeah, another thing about people complain about the halftime show. I don't think I've ever seen anybody all of the people be happy about a halftime show in years and years. To me, it was as good as anything I've seen. It wasn't my type of music. You know, I like the Lumineers. You know, what did they expect? They were trying to get to the younger generation. That's what this league needs. And a lot of gray-haired folk in the stands. We need the younger generation in there and keep her going. I'm sure the TSN contract should be okay. I think that's up. Got to get more money from them, you know, instead of trying to revenue share. What a stupid idea to me. Anyway, but